Hello, welcome back to the Bunch of Punts Betting Podcast, your specialist podcast for football long shot bets. First up, this is a betting show. Gambling comes with very serious risks. Please remember to gamble responsibly. Gambling is for over 18s, and if you feel like you're in danger, visit begambleaware.org, I think it is. Coming up on today's show, we're building an acca in the first half, and then we got loads and loads of long shots in the second half. 1x2 goal scorers cards, corners, keeper combinations. I'm just looking, I think the biggest price bet we've got between us is a shade under 3,000 to 1. So stay tuned for that. Joining me, as ever, Matthew O'Regan. How are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, it's good to be back after a long-awaited break for both of us. We haven't had many of them recently, so I think it was overdue.
2 weeks, when I was away and then you was away.
I know. We've been slacking, but seems like you had a good time in Spain.
Seems like you had a good time in Dublin.
Belfast, but yeah,
Belfast.
It was
over
a
that
heavy one, but recovered now.
Have you?
I'm back fighting. Just about, yeah.
Yeah. That's the spirit, right? As we record, it's 4:30 on Friday. I've got a couple of bets for the Friday night game, but first we're going to do the ACCA. There's only 3:00 in the Prem, so I'll swerve straight past that.
Is there only one? What's the 3 p.m.?
Is it Fulham?
I've hardly looked at it. So.
Fulham, Burnley.
Yeah, Fulham a bit short. Yeah, we swerve that.
Swerve that into the champ. By the way, I don't know actually how many ACCAs we've done because I've got it in front of me, but I can't bother to count them. But we're 17.7 points down. We haven't had a winner. So if you're listening to this thinking you want to get involved, please heed that information. Last time we were on the start of March, we did an early kickoff ACCA, Hull and Bromley. Hull, did they lose? I don't know how the Hull got on, but Bromley drew.
Was that?
And then the main ACCA didn't go well.
We had a stinker.
Yeah, someone's gone close.
Yeah, Hull got beat, yeah.
Hull got beat, probably, because...
A dog. No,
XG's catching up to him. Yeah, Championship then.
Southampton, home to Oxford, but are they too short?
Yeah, they were 1.6 on Wednesday, 1.55 with 365 now. They did shorten to 1.5. They're absolutely flying, aren't they? Oxford, not so good on the road. If you look at the price, like Coventry, Middlesbrough, Ipswich have gone off at home to Oxford. It's a lot shorter than this.
Yeah, I bought, to be fair, Oxford have...
But would you want...
I've beaten in 4.
Would you want Southampton 1.55?
I just think Southampton are brilliant. They have been most of the season, just unlucky early in the season.
Shall I put me in for now?
Yeah, are they too short against a team that's unbeaten in 4? But
who's Oxford's manager? Bloomfield. Yeah, he had a tough start, didn't he? But he seems to have.
I think we'll leave. Leave it.
All right. Anything else in the Championship? I didn't know about goals. Sheffield United, Wrexham.
I haven't looked at that, so I have no idea on that one.
Well, it's 4-5. They changed formations not so long ago to like this box midfields. I feel like they're a little bit more low margin, but United at home have been a bit crazy. It's a bit of a grudge match, this, because something happened years ago. I don't know. It was in the League Cup when Paul Mullin were playing for him. I don't know if they were non-league or League Two, but we had to go to a replay. There were loads of cards. So this is usually a ding-dong game. Lots of cards. Both teams just going hell for leather. But Sheffield United at home, 1-1 to West Brom. And then Coventry game, Wednesday game, Middlesbrough game, Oxford game, Ipswich game, Mansfield game, Leicester game, Birmingham game, all went over. Last one that didn't since the West Brom game was Norwich, 9th of December. And then before that, Stoke went overs, Portsmouth went overs. So that's every game bar 2 since the end of November, 4-5 overs. But I'll just check on Wrexham's
good recently as well.
Have they?
Well, lost 3-1, 1-2-0, 2-1, 4-2, 1-0, 2-1, 5-3, 2-2.
Away from home, overs, unders, overs, unders, overs, unders, overs, unders. I'll put it in for now, I reckon.
Yeah. I don't want them in, but I don't make QPR underdogs at home to Portsmouth.
Do you know what? There's lots of these like this. You put one in as a single coming up later on the show that I really like as well. Like prices that are like, I wouldn't.
It's a really weird slate because there wasn't that much I liked, but there's also a few prices I look at. I'm like, I think I wouldn't say wrong, but like there's a few prices I'm like, I wouldn't have made them. I wouldn't have made QPR underdogs going to Portsmouth.
Yeah, I'm exactly with you.
They're both shit at the moment, and they're both like it's nearly a pick 'em, but it's just Yeah, I just don't get why QPR are, what do you call it? Underdogs.
What price are they?
You can get the double chance at 1.5, QPR home to Pompey.
Do you know what? Because I know what you like in the other leagues. I think I rather um do this sort of acca. You can get what did you say? Double chance you want?
Yeah, 1.5.
Yeah, put that in. I
And
know what
yeah,
we're gonna do.
QPR before, other than the win at Leicester, they've been crap recently. But
Who QPR up?
yeah,
Actually, do we
but
really want double chance? 1.5.
I don't know. I just think we could leave it for now. Again, just a tricky slate, in it.
Yeah, do you know what? We don't even have to do an acca. We'll keep working through the division. If there's no acca, there's no acca. I'm not going to force it. Uh,
No,
Anything else in the championship?
no,
Tickling your pickle. League One.
nothing. Lincoln will batter Rotherham. That's too short. Plymouth for a
You think
decent
that's too
price,
short?
but yeah, 1-3.
Yeah, it's way too short now, isn't it? What are Plymouth? 23 to 20. I think Plymouth are a cracking uh, price at home to Huddersfield. Huddersfield are terrible travellers.
I know it's probably
Absolutely
just my
terrible.
pre-season bias having Huddersfield winning the league, but
Yeah, let me just load up some notes I prepared earlier.
Huddersfield is so low margin under Manning though. That's what I don't trust.
Yeah, I know, but since what do you call it? Derek Adams coming at Plymouth. Plymouth been absolutely flying. I think it was, I want to say November off the top of my head, but the notes aren't excuse me, loading. So I don't know the exact date, but when he came in as like sporting director or whatever it is, they were bottom at league and he just turned out to be a sounding board for Tom Cleverley. And since then, they're like top six underlying data, top 6 points returned. They've got a real massive chance of getting into the playoffs. And Huddersfield not won any of their last four away games, ranked 18th for away form all season, lost 11 and 19. But their last four they played Wigan, improved a bit, but relegation fight. Port Vale going down as bottom of the league. Donny, tough to get a read on. Stevenage, all right, they're pretty good at home. Plymouth, unbeaten in their last four. Over the same period of time they played Wigan, Donny, Stevenage. You're not sold, are you?
Well, I think it's all right, but it's like it doesn't jump at me. But nothing in the
It's
slate
all right.
jumps at me for an athlete. That's the thing.
I know. You just don't have to force it. Sometimes we do goals.
But there's nothing I really like. I like for goals either. It's just such a shit slate.
Right.
Like they've
So
even priced like the teams you'd want to back, like Boreham Wood 1.4, fucking York are 1.14. Like the teams you'd want to back are just ridiculously short.
into hang on. Let me just check. So we just talked about so far we talked about goals in the Sheffield United game, Southampton to beat Oxford, off the top of my head, QPR to beat Portsmouth at home. And then in League One, it was Lincoln are too short to beat Rotherham. Plymouth, 23 to 20. Huddersfield, it's just not grabbing you enough. Anything else in that division? Not for the time being. I like Wigan, made of even money, where they were odds against actually when I liked them. They've shortened a bit, but they've really improved since Caldwell come in. Watched them at Oakwell Tuesday. They were brilliant. Should have won that game. Controlled it for large parts. Had a man sent off, but Caldwell left Exeter like a little over a month ago. So a bit of narrative there. League Two, I like Bromley odds against Colchester. Colchester lost 6 of their last 11, I think. They've like really patchy. Bromley unbeaten at home. That seems like you're going to get a run for your money, but it is League Two. So
Yeah, and Colchester have lost a bit, and Lisby sort of dropped off a bit. So again, it's League Two. It's like a price I wouldn't put you off, but it's not one that I'm just like overawed by. If you know what I mean? Like I don't mind Fleetwood at home to Crawley, but again,
oh yeah,
no, I don't actually. I don't like.
Frank
Don't like
Conduff,
Fleetwood.
Tom Conduff mentioned that on the podcast. Why do you not
What
mind
Fleetwood?
it for people listening? Fleetwood are not on my were not on my radar at all.
No, I've looked back. No, I did think I didn't mind it, but I've just looked at their recent because I know they picked up a bit under Lawler, but a load of draws. Like their last home games, they drew at Tranmere, who was shit. Drew at home to Cheltenham, who was shit. Drew at home to Newport, who was shit. Just scraped past Barrow with a 90th minute, 89th minute goal and an 89th minute own goal. Then they lost to Bromley, lost to County, lost to Cambridge. They're just I don't like it anymore. I've just looked at their result. Sound like a right miserable bastard now, but there's just like nothing I look at. I'm like, meh.
So do you know this though? We don't plan this in advance. We don't organise it off before we start recording. We just go down the slate and pick an acca. It's like we've gone close. Accas are difficult. We sort of aim for around 30-1, but I'm just making the point that we don't go into it with anything in mind. Obviously, we just scroll down and it's the end of the weekend. Like we've got an idea of what we like and what we don't. And the beauty of this week is we're not going to build an Acca, and that's fine.
No.
You don't have to do one every week. There's no point in forcing it. We got loads of singles that we like. Sometimes the best bet is bet in it. That's fine. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, it's just there's like if I just think of it, if I was making an act on the weekend, I don't think I'd have many of the ones we suggested.
What I am going to do though, if you're listening and you want an acca or you like some of the teams we've mentioned, I've just quickly put them in a list. I will put the screenshot at this point in the show, so if you watch it on YouTube, it'll be somewhere over one of our faces, or if you're listening on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, I'll just mention the teams now. So it pays out at 39 and a smidge to 1 with 365. Hampton at home to Oxford. Southampton flying. Oxford in a relegation dogfight. The likes of Coventry, Ipswich and Borough all went off considerably shorter at home to Oxford. Southampton, I'm sure Matthew will agree, are sort of playing on a par with the likes of Borough and Ipswich. Would you agree?
Yeah, yeah. I think there's not many teams. Well, evidently they beat Cov last week. There's not many teams I can see beating them at the moment.
The next one, QPR, simply too big of a price. 5 at home to Portsmouth. This should be a pick 'em. That's the words of Matthew O'Regan.
What? We broke up a bit there.
Sorry. The next one potential is QPR to beat Portsmouth 9-5. That's too big. This should be a pick 'em, shouldn't it?
No, no. I don't, that's again. I just don't know how I'd price it. I just wouldn't have them underdogs. Yeah, but I wouldn't feel confident backing them to win though.
Yeah, but if people are listening and they do want an acca, these are just some little nuggets that
Yeah,
I can tell you're just in a finicky, you're in a picky mood. That 9-5 is
yeah.
too big. You're right. It's too big. Wigan, I like Wigan. Oh my God, I've already mentioned it. Oakwell, they were brilliant. They've got Tickle in net, Moxon in midfield, Joe Taylor up front. Joe Taylor came off with a knock, but Caldwell's declared him fit, and under Caldwell, Wigan have been really good. 7 games, 3 wins, all come at home. I think it's 2 draws, really competitive. Plymouth at home to Huddersfield, we talked about that. Like Plymouth, top 6 teams since Derek Adams came in. Huddersfield, 18th. 8th away from home. The away form is last one, Bromley. They don't get beat at home. I think they're the only team in the EFL unbeaten on their own patch. They host Colchester, 6 losses in their last 11. So I'll put the screenshot on. I'll just quickly recap it. 39 and a smidge over to 1. Southampton beat Oxford, QPR to beat Portsmouth, Wigan to beat Exeter, Plymouth to beat Huddersfield, and Bromley to beat Colchester. Not an official tip, but based on what we've mentioned, as we were just sort of like pickily moseying through the EFL slate, those were the ones that were highlighted. Right, let's get into the singles because we've got lots of them. No official acca this week, but we have provided one if you're desperate for one. I'll kick things off because I've got 2 things from Friday night. 2! I just really like the fixtures, but I'll try and be quick. Preston v Stoke. Is this not the most obvious 0-0 you've ever seen in your life? Is it
I was
not?
tempted with 0-0. I was tempted with the 0-0. Yeah, both had just started the season well, just dropped off, nothing to play for.
Nothing to play for. It's just the most 0-0 I've ever seen in my life. If the season ended on the 4th of January, Preston would have got in the playoffs. They would have finished 4th. They're absolutely flying. Unfortunately, it didn't. Now, only like since the 4th of January, only Wednesday, have taken fewer points than Preston, who have won 1, drawn 3, lost 8. Now they're 17th and just 9 points above the drop zone, which is crazy. In those 12 games where Preston have gone, they have failed to score in 8, 2/3, and 2 or fewer goals have been scored in 7. Stoke, extremely low margin, failed to score in 3 of the last 4 away games, and 14 of the 19 away games has seen unders click. So 9-1 about no first goal scorer. Sky bet, half a point on that for me on a Friday. Easy. It's just, even I could have just told you the game. I say Preston Stoke playing tonight. No first goal scorer. If you got half an idea on the championship, it's just so obvious. 6-1 in places as well. So I'd probably take 8-1, 15-2 if you can't get on with Sky. The other one, I really like this, is corners in the Bournemouth Man United game. I'll be backing over 7.5, over 8.5, over 9.5, over 10.5 home corners. Bournemouth are 4.8 to have 8 or more with Paddy Power, point on that. Bournemouth are 7.5 to have 9 or more with 365 and Paddy Power, 0.75 points on that. They are 11 to 1 to have 10 or more corners with 365 and Sky Bet, half a point on that, and they are 20 to 1 to have 11 or more corners with Sky Bet. I'm having a quarter point on that. And it's basically because under Carrick, when Man United's opponents don't get sent off, don't have a man sent off, they are getting battered on the corner count. 7 games where the opponents hadn't had somebody sent off. I think it was Tottenham, Palace, and Newcastle, who had a player sent off. Barring those 3 games, 7 games, Man United have 16 corners. Their opposition have had 43. And Bournemouth can rack corners up as well. I think they had 7 against Sunderland, 11 against Villa, and 7 against Arsenal, all since the turn of the year at home. So, I really didn't want to use this phrase, but I'm going to. I'm laddering. I'm laddering the corners. 8,
You
9,
love it.
10, 11. I know. I know. 1 to 2.5 points total. But once again, I put the screenshot at the end of the show because it's hard to clearly explain the fucking corner ladder. So just have a look on the end of the show. All good prices, all worth taking, I think. Right, where are we going next? Saturday's action.
Yeah, so Watford Leicester. I've got Jordan James to score at 6. I've had a point on that with Bet365. He's not really known for goal scoring. I don't know his exact record before, but he wasn't someone I'd really pinned as a goal scorer. I've just got it up now. Yeah, he had 8 in 42 in the champ for Birmingham. Before that, he had 1 goal, and then only scored 1 goal in Liga for Rennes. But yeah, he's got 10 in 25 starts for Leicester at the moment. Watford, that's 0.46 goals per 90. Watford have just got 1 clean sheet in their last 8, and I think if Leicester are to claw themselves to safety, Jordan Jones will be key. And I just think, yeah, 0.46 goals per 90, and he's 5 to 1. There's value in that for sure. So a point on that.
Yeah, he's one of the few Leicester players, perhaps the only one, who can come out of this season with any sort of pride.
Yeah, the rest of shite.
Dog meat. I don't really understand why. I know it's easy saying this in hindsight, but I don't really know what he's doing at Leicester. Surely someone
No.
would just surprise him. Should have surprised him away in January. I've got a goal scorer Trixie. You've got a goal scorer Trixie as well. We've got a lot of picks from League One, but interestingly, no overlap. My 3 are McGoldrick, Woodrow, Isby. Pays out. It was 40 to 1. Now it is 38.67. That's with Sky Bet. I'm having a point total stakes, quarter of a point on each of the 4 bets, so it's doubles and the treble. McGoldrick's really interesting because he's old.
I believe he didn't get called up to the national team, by the way.
Yeah, honestly,
Smodix.
he should get. He's so good, but like when you're at the top of his game, like Ireland, Republic of Ireland, like Irish national, Ireland, Republic of Ireland. Like there was like this guy's not up to the level, so I don't know why they're all pining for him now. Actually, I do. It's because he scored 12 goals since Keeler Dunn left for Wrexham in January. I think he's 4 off the top goal scorer. Don Bollard is absolutely cooking at the minute. 7 to 4 is his value because he's got a 0.38 goals per 90 across his career, but last 2 seasons it's 0.6. Very good player. And Donny conceded 59 times this season, 3rd most in League One. Cully Woodrow, 11 to 4. His Wickham side are at Leyton Orient. Again, Cully Woodrow, based on his goals per 90 career, 0.34. This is value, but he's had a bit of a stop-start season, but he's got 5 in his last 10, netted in both of his last 2 appearances. He's usually rested on a Tuesday, plays on a Saturday. Yeah, so I thought this was a bit of a big prize against Leyton Orient, who conceded some goals. And then Lisby, player I like. I don't know if you are going to talk about this game in a bit. I did like the price of Peterborough, but I just preferred the price of Lisby to score around 3 to 1, 0.43 goals per 90. They're a young team, this posh side, and after battering Rotherham in midweek, I think they'll be on an upper. They were on a bit of a downer, weren't they? But I think they'll be back on an upper. And Kyra Lisby, another player I've watched live in the flesh, and I think you get an like, it's so obvious to say, but you really get a way better of a picture than watching highlights or even 90 minutes on telly like this. He's a really good player. He's a really good player. And he's not really playing as a winger. He gets himself in some cracking positions. So yeah, that's my Trixie. What's your Trixie?
To be fair, I did look at Kamara in that game because he came off the bench and he was on penalties weirdly. So I did look at him, but it was a tad too short because smaller sample size. In my Trixie, I've got Ballard in Orient versus Wickham, Nolan in, I don't even think Morecambe are playing, Yeovil Morecambe, and then Joe Taylor, who we mentioned earlier, in uh, Wigan Exeter. Just lost my notes. Phone just went off. Where is it? Sorry.
You're all
Oh,
right. I
I
think
know I'm all over the
you can
place.
wing it, I reckon.
So yeah, we're going to play an Exeter, who we mentioned are in sort of bad form. Exeter winless in 12 and conceded 10 goals across their last four. A run that's seen them dragged down to 19th, just 1 point above the drop zone. We're going to be inconsistent this season, but have had some strong results recently. Beat Huddersfield at home, beat Bradford. And I think a lot of this has been aided by the arrival of Joe Taylor, who I think is a brilliant player. He netted 21 goals across the 23-24 campaign for Lincoln and Colchester.
Two
But
different
he's struggled.
divisions.
Yeah, I know. But he struggled to meet expectations at Huddersfield. I thought he was a
No, he
big
did.
money move, wasn't he?
Lee Grant's a mug. He's a
Yeah, I
mug.
know.
He don't know
But he
what
still
he's
didn't
doing.
score many. Yeah, down to Luton, Luton Wigan has sort of sparked a revival. He scored 8 goals in 10 league starts, and he's against a fragile Exeter defence, and he's about 9-4 to score, which looks very generous. Then Orient Wickham. Again, I think Wickham are decent, but I thought Orient were a bit too big for this game. But yeah, Ballard is 15-8. Yeah, Orient I've mentioned it before, they were sort of gutted in the summer. They lost most of their players. They had Kelman on loan, who won the Golden Boot, and they've sort of shown their strong in signing recruitment. Strikers, Connolly was good before his injury, and they got Ballard from Southampton. He's now got 21 goals in 31 starts, averaging 0.71 goals per 90. Um, yeah, he sort of went for a little dry spell, but so did Orion, and he's a young player, so it's expected. He's sort of come back to life recently. He scored 5 in his last 3, including a hat-trick in the statement win at AFC Wimbledon, so 15-8 for him. Looks a touch big. And then you got Jack Nolan, who was scored 17 goals in 45 games for Accrington 2 seasons ago in League Two. Moved to Gillingham, absolutely flopped, but Gillingham are just sort of a basket case club, especially going forward. And Morecambe have improved since what's his name? Jim Bentley's return. Since the 10th of February, Nolan scored against Tamworth, banked away at Southend, scored at home to Eastleigh, scored away at Gateshead, blanked at home to York, scored a brace against Willstone, brace against Sutton, and against Braintree. He's got 14 in 31 games, but obviously picked up a lot. He's playing as a main striker. He's on penalties, and he's playing against the Yeovil side I'm not that keen on. So you can get 23-1 for the goal scorer. All of them are above 2-1 and good prices for the single, but just sticking to the Trixie. So, but I'm having 2 points total on a 23-1 Trixie. So 4 times 0.5 and then 0.4 total. So 4 times 0.1 on the brace Trixie at 2,963-1.
Animal. Or animal. I like all three of them. When you said Jack Nolan, I was like, who the fuck? Do you mean Jack Moylan for Lincoln? And then
I was going
I
to do it, but
didn't
he
have a
was way
fucking
too
clue.
short again.
Way too short. And I feel like he's just on an insane purple patch. I know that's nuts to say, but
I
I
think he's the
don't.
best player in the league.
Oh God, yeah. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of them where like his price is too short now. I was happy to
Yeah,
take
yeah.
it at like I was happy to ride the wave when it were a
But
couple of points
but
bigger.
Nolan's a player easily good enough to start for a lot of League Two teams. It's just like certain environment, like Gillingham under Ainsworth, and they had Harris, I think, they just couldn't score. So I think that ruined Nolan a bit. And I think he'll get an EFL move next summer.
Yeah.
He's only 24. He's banging them in, so he looks a big price.
Beautiful. Right, sticking with the Trixies, but Sunday card Trixie back. It's on betting.betfair. It'll be on 9 a.m. Saturday morning if you want the proper long explanation. Coral and Ladbrokes are actually a bit bigger at the minute. 2.4 to 1 on the following players, but the prices are fluctuating a lot. So just put it in Oddschecker whenever you're listening to this and double check it because the prices are going all over the place. It's the time we had Derby, Newcastle host Sunderland, 12 o'clock. Dan Burns the pick to be carded, 2-1 generally, 12-5, I think best price, Coral and Ladbrokes. 7 or 8 cards this season. He's either got 7 bookings in a red or 8 bookings in a red. I think it's 8 cards total. Local lad, loves the club, be very passionate. In the reverse as well, interestingly, he broke some ribs and got a fractured lung. So he'll be seeking revenge, and he'll probably be up against, if he's fully fit, it'll be Brobby. He's a handful. If it's not fit, then it'll be Wilson Isidore. And
Or
he's
my ender, maybe.
on my ender, but yeah, whoever it is, they'll they'll not give him an easy time.
Robbery started last Saturday
Yeah,
against us.
he's got a bit of a he had a bit of a knock, didn't he? But he looks like he's
He
back
was
fit.
dog shit.
Yeah, but basically, Burns got loads of cards this season. He's a local lad, and he got really nasty injury in the reverse, so he'll be back for revenge. The other one, I really like this pick: Villa v West Ham. Villa need to keep their top 4 hopes alive. I guess they've lost their last 3, I think, but because the teams behind them are so crap, they're still in the top 4. West Ham need to stay in the division. I think they're either in or out of the relegation zone on goal difference. I think they are in it.
Ow. Oh,
Are they out it? I think
too bad. I have
Forest
no
are
idea. I
out of
just
it
guessed.
on goal difference. Yeah, I think they're in it, but so it's a big. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but well, it does for them. But it's a big game at both ends. And Bowen is their skipper, and he's took a lot of responsibility for the crap performances this season. Like, he apologised to the fans, reasoned with them after games. He took this very personally. He's got 4 yellows in his last 14, and all bar one of his 5 yellows this season have come when he's playing on the right. Crescencio Somerville is injured for this one, so he should play on the right. He is 9-1, better Paddy Power for a card. Point on that as a single. He's also going in the Trixie. Last stop, Van der Ven. Best price, 100 to 30, I think. Betfair Paddy Power. He is 7 cards this season, back from suspension after his red card against Palace. He wasn't allowed to play in the Prem, obviously, against Liverpool, but he has been playing in the Champions League, and he was booked in both games against Atletico Madrid. So in the Champions League and the Prem, he's got 11 cards this season. 122.4 for that Trixie. It's Burn, Bowen, Van der Ven. I'm also having Bowen single at 9-1. Point on that. Wallop. Where are we going next?
Don't know. We'll go to. I've got a single and a treble for this. So Stevenage Reading. I've gone Reading to win at 4.2. Point on that. It's another one where I can. It guns to my head, it'll be a draw, and I couldn't split them, which is very good. But I just think it's purely a price pay. Reading, Stevenage, I don't think should be odds on. Reading, it's a huge game in the playoff battle. Reading are 1 point ahead of them, and it's also very tight in the XG. Reading have only lost 1 in their last 9, and they've picked up a lot under Richardson's there, innit? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just a lot to like about the Reading team. They've signed Kamari Doyle on loan from Brighton, who's been doing very well. Will Keane on loan as well, gets their goals. Savage and Wing are arguably the best midfield pivot in the league. They've just got a lot. There's just a lot to like about them. And Stevenage, they're just a team I can't get a read on. They scraped past Wimbledon 1-0 with a penalty. Lost at home to Orient, scraped past Burton. They're just a very low margin side, and I just think a team that low margin, I don't know if I like them that short. So yeah, Reading at 4.2 just stood out to me. And I've also had a treble, half a point on the treble. Similar thinking, just 3 teams, I think. It's all tight games away from home that I just think have the better of their opponent. Bristol Rovers at Gillingham. Bristol Rovers have sort of picked up a bit after typical Steve Evans. He can get a good run of form going. He's very, don't know if you describe him as a purple patch manager, but he sort of just found the formula to get them winning. He's brought Quigley, and he sort of brought the best out of Cavang and Tommy Lee. They're unbeaten. They've lost 1 in 6, and that was away to Bromley. Quite a tight game there. They beat Grimsby in that time. Drew at Swindon, beat Crewe, won at Barrow, beat Bristol Shrewsbury. And they're again, they're a team I was surprised with this price, especially against the Gillingham side. They're only 5 points off, but Gillingham are on the beach and sort of just capitulated. They lost 2-0 at home to Swindon. Before that, conceded 5 away at Cambridge and 5 at home to MK. They've only won 1 in their last 6, 7, 8, and that was away at Barrow. Then they beat Tranmere. So the only teams they've beaten the last 4 are Newport, Harrogate, Tranmere, and Barrow. They're their only win since 8th of November. So they've only beaten 4 of the bottom 5, sorry, and yeah, I've just not sold to them. And the final one is Peterborough. We mentioned they absolutely battered Rotherham midweek, who aren't that good. That was their first win in 5. But they're a team I like. They're a young team, sort of nothing to play for now for the rest of the season. Willing to sort of mix it up a bit with a lot of youth in the team, and they're ahead of Wimbledon and Sable on goal difference. I think it's very similar XG wise as well. No, that they're Wimbledon are sort of outperforming XG. I can't get a read on Wimbledon as well. One minute they look well beating Bradford, drawing at Mansfield, and then beating Northampton and Blackpool, and then they've just gone and lost at Stevenage and lost at home to Orient. They're only ranked 15th for home form. Again, it's another one I couldn't split, but purely a price play for all three. So Reading, Bristol Rovers, Peterborough treble at 40-1.
Yeah, that Reading bet, that game is one I looked at for ages. What was I going to say? Wimbledon, 14th, went off shorter at Stevenage. Stockport, 9-5, went off shorter at Stevenage. Huddersfield, 2-1. Peterborough, 16-5, all below Reading in the table.
That's what I mean. I just think with Reading's form, it's purely like if I was pricing out myself, I would have had Reading maybe half a point shorter, maybe.
Yeah, there were 7-2. Again, something weird's going on because Reading were 9-4 at Burton in midweek and they won that. Burton were the favourite. Yeah, Burton was marginal favourites then.
Reading are like traditionally crap at home, but away. Sorry, but this season they rank 5th in the league.
Yeah,
for away form.
they're
They're not as bad as they once were.
no.
No team, every team in the league is averaging less than 2 points a game away from home. Like the league isn't.
The league's
Plymouth got the
shite.
third best away record with 29 points from 19. Like that's not very good. But yeah, I don't know. I just can't figure out why Reading are that big.
I think it's something to do with boring, but the underlying data. And Jack Marriott's out until end of April potentially.
But Reading's underlying data is only behind Stevenage, like by a point.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100% on this one.
Like the metrics can't split them. The league table can't really split them. Yeah. Stevenage are odds on.
It's a big old price. I like it a lot. My last cluster of bets comes from the League Cup Final. And I'm dusting off a golden oldie. Results keeper cards. If you're new here, like where have you been? This used to be an all-time favourite of mine. But something stopped me in my tracks. I think it was Jay's Picks Twitter account who tweeted ages ago about how much the margin's gone in keeper cards, and I didn't realise. And then I dug out some old keeper card bets I used to have, and like used to be like 80-90-1, for an underdog in the Prem, double chance. So I've just sort of lost interest in them a bit, to be honest. But I think it's time to get back in because I can't pick these two sides. It's pretty tight. There's only one goal usually in these games, recent history. I think the last 7 or 8 I've only seen one goal. League Cup final. So combining City to win and their keeper, Arsenal to win and their keeper, I think the shortest price is 17-1. The issue is Kepa's played in the Cup. Raya is Arsenal's first choice. Trafford's played in the Cup. Donnarumma's City's first choice. Pep said Trafford's going to play. Kepa should play because he's played every game for Arsenal, but for the sake of tracking it, I've done Donnarumma and City, Trafford and City, and then Kepa and Arsenal, Raya and Arsenal. But obviously, I'll just void the one on this sheet. You guys can wait. If you're listening and you fancy this, you can wait until team news and just back it when the teams come out or cash it out. Or it'll void, I think, with Ladbrokes in these bets. Trafford is with 365, so that'll definitely void. So yeah, Donnarumma carded 8 times this season. He's a fucking nutter. Trafford hasn't been carded this season. He was carded 8 times last season for Burnley. Personal favourite of mine. And Pep has said he's going to play Trafford. Trafford is 20-1, 365 Coral Ladbrokes. Donnarumma is 19-1 Coral and Ladbrokes, but I think it's going to be Trafford. Kepa has been carded in his last 2 starts in this competition. I think he's played every game for Arsenal. He's 17-1 alongside the Arsenal to win. So yeah, Raya is 19-1 along. No, he's 20-1 alongside Arsenal to win. Made a mistake in there. So yeah, keeper cards win. Cover all bases. It's going to end up being. I'm having a point on each, so it's going to be 2 points outlay. And assuming a team does get the noses in front, and then you're looking at what is it? I don't know, God. God, maths off of my top head's terrible. About 16 points profit. And Kepa and Trafford, who it's probably going to be, I back them every day at week. If they've got a 1-goal lead to protect, I back them to be absolute shithouses. If it gets to Sunday and you want a bet on this game, I don't think you can go wrong with a keeper card combination. Like I say, fiver, return like minimum 170, I think. What's not to like? No, it's not. It's 95. No, it's not. Fuck no. But yeah, point on Kepa, Arsenal, Trafford, City. I've also covered Donnarumma and Raya, but I think it's going to be Trafford and Kepa. Anyway, what's your non-league picks?
So I've only got two. First one is Chippenham to beat Eastbourne and both teams to score at 4.33, having a point on that. Just counting now, I think it's last 18. Chippenham have only failed to score once. They've sort of had an upturn. Beat Dover away 2-1 in a very impressive result. Scored two at Hemel but lost to a last minute goal. Their home games don't make very good reading for both teams' score recently. They beat Enfield 1-0, Maidenhead 1-0, Maidstone 1-0, Torquay 1-0. So last four home games have been a 1-0 win. But before that, lost 4-1 to Ebbsfleet, beat Slough 2-1, beat Bath 3-2. Like the last time they didn't score at home was 25th of October against Dagenham and Redbridge. And then, so yeah, they just sort of picked up as they attempt to escape. And now they're playing Eastbourne Borough side who've sort of just chucked the towel in sort of a bit. They've just sold their best striker, George Alexander, to Hornchurch. They're 6 points adrift. And they sort of put out a statement the other week and it's just sort of seems like they've waved the white flag. Lost four of the last five. Away from home, they're very poor. I've lost it now again. Where the hell was it gone? Oh, away from home, they've lost 12 from 19, conceded 42, scored 22 in 19. They've just appointed Steve King, who is, and most people in non-league will just know he's an absolute, don't want to say too much, but he's a bit of a, I don't want to say crook, but I'll leave it to your imagination. Yeah, he's just not a very popular figure in non-league, and it was just a very strange appointment. I just think Eastbourne are done for, and it wouldn't shock me if Chippenham win 1-0, but Eastbourne just have to just go for it because they've still got a couple tough games. They've still got to go to Worthing and Chelmsford, and ideally, I think they need 5 wins from 7 to stay up. So basically, going to have to win every game, presuming they lose to Worthing and Chelmsford. So yeah, they're going to have to go for it. So I think it's going to be an open game, which suits Chippenham, and a win brings Chippenham out of the relegation zone. So I don't think it'll be a classic relegation battle game. Both need a win, so it's not going to be scrappy. It's going to be just end to end. So yeah, Chippenham and both teams scored 4.33, a point on that. And then from the National North, I've gone Chester, Southport, Chester to win and both to score at 4s. Callum McIntyre was meant to be leaving at the end of the season, but after a 2-1 win against Spennymoor, they just announced he was gone. Since then, they beat two strong sides, Dunnington and Merthyr 2-1, with last-minute goals in both. Just sort of shows that they've got a lot of fight in them. They also drew 1-1 at a strong Kidderminster side. 15 out of their 19 home games have seen both teams score, which is the most in the league. And they face a Southport side who've sort of picked it up recently, nothing to play for, so they should play with more freedom. They scored in 10 of their last 11, but away from home, they're a bit poor. They've only got 21 from 19. So again, it should be a high-scoring game with Chester winning. So 4s for that.
Beautiful. Is that the lot?
Yeah, that is the lot. One big kapow.
Wham! So the ACCA that we're not officially putting forward, Bromley, Plymouth, Wigan, QPR, Southampton, 39.02 to 1. But as you probably heard in the first few minutes of the show, nothing grabbed us. So we're not officially putting one forward. But if you did like what we were saying, those were the teams we flagged. A recap of the bets will be on the spreadsheet now at this point in the YouTube video. Matthew, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure as always.
Pleasure. Oh, we were saying no show next week. We're both away. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm in Prague and Slovakia for a piss up. So yeah, I don't think I'll be in any state.
I'm in a bivvy somewhere down south fishing for carp. So I will have no laptop anywhere near me. Unlucky. Well, lucky actually, because my bets have been shy. Anyway, good luck with all your punts this weekend, and we'll probably see you in a couple of weeks if we're back. Go well.